There's a special kind of morning stillness in my house on a quiet street in Maple Glen. I sit at the kitchen table sipping strong tea and flipping through the newspaper, while the sun slowly rises behind the rooftops, painting the sky soft pink. This moment belongs just to me. No phone calls, no demands, no responsibilities. My name is Martha Ellis. I'm 68 and for the last 3 years, I've lived alone in the 2-story home my husband and I paid off over 2 decades. Hank passed away from a heart attack, leaving me the house, a modest insurance check and memories of our 42 years together. I still find myself talking to him, especially when something breaks, like the faucet dripping or the mower stalling. I glance at his photo on the mantel. Your son canceled again, I say. Said work came up. Hank always believed in Brian, our only son. That boy's going places, he'd say when Brian left for college to study computers. And sure enough he did, at least financially. Now Brian's CIO at a big logistics firm with a fancy home in a gated neighborhood, 2 cars and even a yacht somewhere on the coast. It's Wednesday, my usual day to pick up the grandkids Grace and Logan from school. Brian's wife, Natalie, works late midweek and their nanny has a bad tooth. So here I am as always. I don't mind. I love spending time with them. Though Logan, now 14, is growing distant. Teen years are tough. Grace is still my sunshine, she's 10, sweet and still lets me in. Then there's little Lucy, just 4, who stays with me Tuesdays and Thursdays. Natalie says she's allergic to something at daycare, though I suspect it's more about trust and saving money. Grandma doesn't charge. At 3 p.m. I'm already by the school gate. Parents and other grandparents gather, most younger than me. I see their glances, probably wondering if they'll look like me someday. The bell rings, kids flood out and Grace spots me first. Grandma, she calls, arms open wide. I hug her, breathing in that mix of bubble gum and baby shampoo. She's bubbling with stories. A math quiz, a new classmate and how her music teacher gave her a solo. A few minutes later Logan shows up. He's nearly my height now, headphones blaring, backpack slung on one shoulder. Hi Grandma, he mutters, not bothering to look up. How's school? I ask. Fine, he shrugs. Teens speak for stop talking. We head to my old Honda Civic, the one Hank bought the year before he passed. Brian keeps saying I should get a newer, safer car, but I won't. That Honda's solid. Reminds me of Hank. On the drive, Grace talks nonstop about her day. Logan stares at his phone, silent. I catch his eyes now and then in the mirror, distant like he's somewhere else. At home I fix them a snack, PB&J for Grace, turkey and cheese for Logan. She settles at the kitchen table with homework. He vanishes into the living room and turns on the TV. Logan, I call, homework first. He groans like I asked him to build a fence. I don't have any, he insists. Let's check your planner, I say. Geez Grandma, you're so annoying, he grumbles but pulls out a wrinkled paper. Sure enough, nothing listed for today. Okay, I say, but just an hour of TV. And don't forget the science test. He looks surprised. How do you know about that? Your mom texted me, I say with a smile. Asked me to make sure you study. He rolls his eyes, mutters something and I let it slide. Natalie shows up at 5, rushing in like usual. Tall, polished, makeup perfect, smelling like perfume and disinfectant. Thank you so much, Martha, she says, pecking my cheek. You've been amazing. You're welcome, I say. They've eaten. Grace finished her homework. And Logan, she asks, eyeing the living room. No homework today, but he does have that science test. She sighs. I'll talk to him. Then out of politeness she offers, you want to stay for dinner? I ordered Chinese. I smile, shake my head. Thanks, but I have plans. That's a lie. I just want to go home, take a hot bath and read the mystery novel I borrowed from the library. I know she doesn't really want me to stay, and Brian certainly doesn't. Back home I turn on the radio and start dinner. Usually it's salad or soup from a can, but tonight I want something nicer. I pull out a frozen chicken breast and decide on chicken curry, Hank's favorite. While it defrosts, I sit down and sort through the mail. Mostly junk and bills, but there's a letter from my friend Donna who moved to Florida after her husband passed. She bought a little place near the ocean and invites me to visit. You'd love it here, she wrote. Sunshine, ocean breeze, no cold winters, and no obligations. I smile, picturing Donna walking the beach. We've been friends since college. She was always bold, first to leave her cheating husband, first to buy a house on her own. And now, at 69, she's living life on her own terms. I wrote back that I'll visit once I'm free of grandma duty, though deep down I know that day may never come. Brian and Natalie rely on me far more than they admit. Later that night Brian calls. Rare for him. Usually it's a text or Natalie passing on a message. "Hey Mom," he says. "How are you?" "I'm fine," I reply, wondering what's coming. "Work's okay. Kids are good," he says, then hesitates. "So, you and Dad, you saved for retirement, right?" "There it is." "We did," I answer carefully. "Why?" He clears his throat. "Natalie and I found this house, bigger with a pool and space for the kids, but we're short on the down payment." I don't say anything, just wait. "I thought maybe you could help," he continues. "It's for your grandkids. They'd each have their own room. And hey, we'd have space for you to sleep over." "Brian," I say slowly, "I have some savings. But they're for emergencies, for when I'm old or get sick." "But Mom," he says, a little annoyed, "you don't need a house that big. You could sell it, get something smaller. Use some of it to help us." And just like that, we're talking about my house. They've been nudging me for years to simplify. But I love this house. It's mine. And I'm not ready to let it go. Your father and I chose this house together. We spent years paying it off, and every room still feels like a piece of him. "Mom, it's been 3 years, Brian says, frustration creeping into his voice. "You can't live in the past. Think about what's next, for you, for all of us." He talks about comfort, suggests I'd be better off in some fancy retirement apartment. No yard work, no repairs, doctors on site. I bristle. "Brian, I'm 68, not ancient. I manage just fine, and I'm not moving into a home." "It's not a home," he argues like he's explaining to a child. "It's a luxury community for active retirees. There's a pool, a gym, activities." I try to stay calm. "I appreciate your concern, but I'm not leaving this house. And I can't help you with that new place. I barely have enough for myself." Silence stretches over the line. I can feel his disappointment pressing through the phone. "All right," he finally says. "Forget it. Sorry to bother you." Then click. No goodbye. I sit there, phone still in hand, the familiar ache rising in my chest. It's always like this. The second I say no, he shuts down. He did the same as a kid, pout for days when things didn't go his way. I walk to the window. It's dark now. Across the street, lights glow in windows. I see shadows move. Families eating dinner, kids at homework, couples watching TV. That used to be my life too. I return to the kitchen. The curry I made tastes flat, no flavor, just fuel. My mind replays the conversation again and again. It's not that I don't want to help him, I just hate the way he expects things. Like I'm just a bank account he hasn't fully emptied yet. He never asks what I want, never wonders about my future. It's like I'm supposed to fade into the background so he can stretch out in my space. After dinner, I pour myself a small glass of red wine. Hank always said a little red was good for the heart. We'd drink and talk at the end of the day. I lift my glass toward his photo. "To you, sweetheart," I whisper. "You wouldn't believe what our son's become." Hank raised him to respect his elders, to be grateful, to never treat people like they owe you. But I guess those lessons didn't stick. Thursday morning, I head to Brian and Natalie's place to watch Lucy. I arrive by 8. Natalie opens the door in full work mode, tailored suit, hair perfect, makeup fresh. "Morning, Martha," she says, stepping aside. "Lucy's finishing breakfast. There's a list on the fridge. Oh, and no sweets, please. She had a tantrum last night. We think it was the sugar." I nod, though I doubt candy was the problem. That child barely sees her mom more than an hour a day. Natalie grabs her coat. "Also, Brian and I have a meeting with the realtor after work, so we'll be late. You can stay a bit longer, right?" I want to sigh, but I nod again. "Of course. No problem." "You're a lifesaver," she says, kisses my cheek and rushes out. I find Lucy in the kitchen trying to catch cereal pieces with her spoon. When she spots me, her face lights up. "Grandma," she squeals, arms open. I hug her tight. These are the moments that keep me going, the ones full of real, honest love. The day rolls on. We read, draw, walk to the park, cook lunch. Lucy's always curious, always busy. By 3, she's asleep on the couch, cartoons still playing. I cover her with a blanket and sit beside her, scrolling the news. My phone rings. Brian again. Mom, he starts without a hello. We're at the house now. The realtor says someone else is interested. We need to decide fast. Any chance you've reconsidered? I feel heat rise behind my eyes. Brian, I told you yesterday. Yeah, I know, he cuts in. But this house is perfect. For us and for you. There's even a guest room downstairs. No stairs for you. I'm not moving in with you, I say firm this time. And I can't give you money. I need that for myself. His voice hardens. You're being impossible. We're offering you the best setup and you're just being stubborn. What? You expect us to keep cramming into this space while you sit alone in a whole house? Brian, but he cuts me off again. You know what? Forget it. We'll figure it out without you. I just don't get why you're being so selfish. I stare at the screen, throat tight. Selfish. My son called me selfish, for wanting to keep my home and savings. Saturday starts off quiet. I wake up, make tea, open a new mystery novel. I finally have a calm day to myself. After a full week with the kids, I need the stillness. The sun is out. I plan to work in the garden this afternoon. The roses need trimming, weeds need pulling. At 11 I hear a car. I peek out and see Brian's SUV. Strange, he never just shows up. Even stranger, Natalie is with him and so is a younger woman holding a thick folder. I open the door before they even knock. Brian? Natalie? What's going on? My stomach tightens. Is it the kids? No, everything's fine, Brian says, kissing my cheek. We just wanted to stop by while the kids are at activities. Can we talk? They step inside. Natalie gives me that professional smile she uses on strangers. Martha, this is Olivia Green, she says. She's an interior designer. She worked with our friends, the Denhams. Remember their kitchen? I vaguely recall the Denhams' ultramodern house. Looked like a showroom to me, not a home. Nice to meet you, I say. Olivia's young, polished, dressed like someone who gets facials on lunch breaks. Pleasure's mine, Mrs. Ellis. I've heard so much about this house. Can't wait to see it. I glance at Brian, confused. He clears his throat. Let's head to the living room. He walks in like he owns the place. Mom, could you make some coffee? Not a request, an order. I go to the kitchen trying to make sense of it. From the living room I hear voices. Knock out this wall. Open concept. Gut the kitchen. When I bring in the tray, Olivia's snapping pictures. Natalie is critiquing the curtains. Brian's pointing around like he's planning a remodel. These bookshelves, they've got to go. Way too dark. I set down the tray. Excuse me, I say. Can someone tell me what exactly is happening here? They all pause, suddenly remembering I'm in the room. Brian turns and smiles. Mom. Brian gave me that special smile. The one he used as a kid when he was trying to talk me into something. We've decided to help with the renovations, he said. The house needs updating. Olivia's the best designer in town and she agreed to check it out and offer ideas. I stared at him. But I never asked for renovations. I like the house how it is. Come on, Mom, he said, waving his hand around the room. Everything's outdated. Wiring, plumbing, all of it. It's about safety, not just looks. Mrs. Ellis, Olivia chimed in, your home has great potential. We could raise its value by 30 or 40%. It's a smart investment. Investment, I said. I'm not planning to sell. Not now, of course, Natalie jumped in. But one day when you want to downsize or move into a retirement community. I looked at the three of them and suddenly felt like a guest in my own home. They were speaking like I'd already signed the papers or worse, like I was already gone. I'm not moving, I said firmly. And if anything needs fixing, I'll handle it myself. Brian rolled his eyes just like when he was a teenager. Mom, you don't get it. This isn't just repairs. It's a total transformation. Olivia wants to open it all up, install smart home tech, make everything voice controlled. I don't want any of that, I told him. I like walls. I like light switches. I don't need my house connected to an app. Natalie softened her voice. We just want you to be safe and comfortable. Tech can help at your age. At my age? I echoed. What do you mean by that? She hesitated. You know, when you start to forget things or daily life gets harder. I snapped. I don't have dementia. I worked as an accountant for 30 years. I still remember every birthday in this family, including your parents, which you forget. Natalie blushed and turned away. Brian stepped forward, jaw tight. Don't talk to her like that, he said low and cold. She cares about you more than you deserve. Cares? I laughed bitterly. Is that what this is? Barging into my house with a designer, making plans without asking me first. We're asking you now, he shouted. But you're so damn stubborn. We're just trying to do what's best. For who? I asked. Me or you? Because from where I'm standing, it seems like you've already claimed the house and started divvying it up. That's nonsense, he snapped. We just want to help. And I'm saying I don't want help. I like it how it is. Then you're a selfish old woman stuck in the past, he exploded. This isn't Dad's house anymore. He's been gone for 3 years. Let it go. The room fell silent. Olivia looked ready to bolt. Natalie stared at the floor. Brian stood there, breathing hard, fists clenched. I think you should leave, I said, keeping my voice level. We're not leaving, Brian snapped. Olivia set time aside and we're making a plan for the house. No, I said, stepping in front of him. This is my house. Not yours. I decide what happens here. Come on, he said, throwing up his hands. We all know this place will be mine eventually. Why pretend? You can't live here forever. You'll get old, stairs will be a problem, the yard'll be too much. And when that time comes I'll make the decision. Not you. We should probably go, Natalie mumbled, glancing at Olivia, who had already begun packing up. No. Brian slammed his hand on the table, rattling the cups. We're having this conversation now. I'm sick of her stubbornness. She lives in a big house alone while we squeeze into half the space with 3 kids. It's ridiculous. I could feel my hands tremble. I don't have to justify myself to you. Your father and I worked for this house. It's ours. Not yours. Dad's dead, he shouted. We're your family now. But you don't care. You only think of yourself. Brian, Natalie said quietly, touching his arm. That's enough. No, it's not, he said, shaking her off. I'm done being polite. Either you agree to the renovation or what? I folded my arms. He stepped closer, face twisted in rage. For a moment I didn't recognize him. Or I'll have you declared incompetent, he said. You're stuck in the past, refusing help, clearly unsafe. I can get a doctor to sign off and take legal control of your care. I went cold. You wouldn't dare, I said, though my voice betrayed me. Try me, he said, eyes narrowed. Keep this up and you'll see. Brian. Natalie gasped. You're out of line. No, she is, he pointed at me. Always judging us, criticizing, and now refusing to help. I'm done with it. Either she agrees or I call the police and report her as a danger to herself. Let's see who they believe, a successful man or a senile old woman. That's enough, Olivia said. Mr. Ellis, I think I should go. We can talk another time. No, stay, Brian grabbed her arm. We're not done. She's just making drama like always. She loves attention. I took a breath. Brian, I'm asking one last time. Leave my house. Or what? He sneered. Call the cops? Kick out your own son? If I have to, yes. He shoved his phone into my hand. Go ahead. I wonder what they'll think when they find us trying to help and you screaming like a lunatic. Something shifted inside me. The anger, the shock. It vanished. I just stood there, clear-eyed, looking at the man in front of me. Not my son anymore, but someone else. Someone cruel. Leave, I said, calm as ever. Or I'll call. Fine, he yelled. That's how you treat your son? Great. I didn't say another word. I turned, grabbed my purse and walked out. Behind me I could hear him yelling, Natalie trying to calm him, Olivia saying something, but I didn't look back. I got in my car and drove, no idea where I was going. Traffic lights, turns, crosswalks. It was all muscle memory. I felt hollow. No rage, no sadness. Just tired. Bone deep. Before I knew it, I was parked on a quiet street in the old part of Oakwood. In front of a small red brick office building. The sign read, Harper and Associates, Real Estate. I stared at it for a moment. The name Harper rang a bell. Kyle Harper. I'd met him at Sarah Dalton's funeral 6 months ago. He was helping her family sell her house. We spoke briefly at the funeral and like people often do, he handed me his business card without much reason. If you ever want to sell or buy something, give me a call, he said. Now, sitting in my car, I pulled the card from my wallet. Kyle Harper, real estate agent with 30 years of experience, specializing in retirement homes and upscale properties. I stared at the card as a plan began to take shape. Not just an escape from today, but a new direction. A life I could shape without pressure from Brian. I dialed the number. Kyle Harper, a warm male voice answered. Mr. Harper, this is Martha Ellis. We met at Sarah Dalton's funeral. Of course, he said, sounding genuinely pleased. What can I do for you? I took a breath. I want to sell my house. I need your help. Happy to help. Want to schedule a meeting? Actually, I said, I'm outside your office. Pause. Really? Come on up. Office 205. As I climbed the stairs, I felt strangely steady. This wasn't sudden. It had been building in me for a long time. Today just tipped the scale. I knocked and Kyle greeted me, tall, neat gray hair, kind eyes. Nice to see you, though I wish it were under better circumstances. I sat down, holding my purse tight. How fast can I sell a house? He listened carefully. Depends on condition, price, and market, but first, are you sure? I looked straight at him. I've never been more sure. He nodded. All right. Tell me about your home. I told him everything. 4 bedrooms, 2 baths, a large kitchen, Hank's old workshop in the basement, the garden I'd tended for 20 years. A quiet neighborhood, good schools, close to parks. Kyle took notes, then asked about the roof, wiring, plumbing. He pulled up listings of nearby homes. Based on what you've told me, I'd estimate your home at $700,000 to $800,000. But I'd need to see it to give a final number. Could you come Monday? I asked. 10 o'clock. That works. He then asked, do you have a plan for where you'll go? Not yet, I said. But I'm thinking somewhere coastal. My friend Donna moved to Florida and loves it. Florida's a great option, he said. I have colleagues there. I can connect you. That would be lovely. For the first time in ages, I felt hopeful. We discussed paperwork, the process, timing. He was efficient but never pushy. When I left, I held a folder of documents and a draft contract. We agreed that if all looked good Monday, I'd sign, and the house would go on the market the following week. As I sat in my car, I felt relief wash over me, followed by something lighter, something close to joy. I had finally taken a step toward a life where I didn't have to explain myself, where I wasn't treated like someone in the way. At 10 sharp on Monday, Kyle rang the bell. Professional suit, briefcase, polite smile. I showed him every room, explaining the layout and small updates over the years. You've maintained it beautifully, he said as we sat in the kitchen. Given the size and condition, I'd recommend listing at $750,000. It's slightly above average, but your home justifies it. I nodded, already imagining what that money could do. A little place by the ocean, some savings to spare. When can we begin? I asked. If you sign today, I'll start the listing tomorrow, he replied. We'll bring in a photographer and get it moving fast. I signed the contract, my hand trembling just a bit. This house had been my life. Hank and I built everything here. It's where Brian grew up, where I lost my husband, where I'd hoped to grow old. But I was ready. You shouldn't be home during showings, Kyle said, packing up. Buyers prefer to walk through freely. Understood, I said. I'll keep busy. After he left, I walked room to room, seeing the place with fresh eyes. What needed cleaning, what needed fixing. I made a list, and it was long. But I threw myself into it. Over the next few days, I donated clothes, tossed junk, hired cleaners, called a gardener, repainted the fence, changed bulbs, tightened knobs. By Wednesday, the photographer came and took photos for the listing. The house sparkled. And so did something inside me, something that hadn't in a long time. On Thursday, Kyle sent me a link to the listing. The photos were beautiful. The house looked bright, warm, and spacious. The description was glowing. Classic 4-bedroom home in a prestigious Oakwood neighborhood. Updated bathrooms, lush rose garden, close to schools and parks. That evening, Brian called. I hadn't spoken to him since that awful Saturday, though he'd left several messages. Some angry, others more apologetic. Hi, Mom, he said, uncertain. How are you? Fine, I answered flatly. I just wanted to say I'm sorry for Saturday. I overreacted. His voice sounded rehearsed, but I let it go. Hey. Apology accepted. So, are we good? The kids and I were thinking of stopping by for Sunday lunch. I hesitated. The house was scheduled for an open viewing that day and Kyle had advised I be out. More than that, I wasn't ready to face Brian again. This Sunday won't work. I have plans. Plans? He asked surprised. What kind? Personal, I replied. All right, maybe next week? We'll see, I said vaguely. I wasn't ready for promises. After the call I felt oddly at peace. I hadn't lied but I hadn't told him about selling the house either. It wasn't time. On Saturday Kyle called. We've got interest, he said. Tomorrow's showing should be busy. Sunday I spent the day at my friend Donna's. That night Kyle updated me, 15 visitors, 3 very interested. We might get an offer this week, he said. He was professional, steady and kept me in the loop. By Tuesday we had our first offer. $720,000 from a couple with 2 children. Kyle suggested we wait and he was right. On Thursday, a young couple expecting a baby offered $740,000. They fell in love with your rose garden, Kyle told me. The woman said she always dreamed of one. That touched me. Later that week I started browsing listings in Florida. Donna had sent me options near her. A cozy 1-story house with a veranda overlooking the ocean, 3 bedrooms, 2 baths and just minutes from her place. It's perfect for you, Donna told me. Room for guests but still manageable. The price was $420,000. Very doable. I contacted a Florida agent and asked for more info. The more I saw, the more I wanted it. I imagined morning coffee on the porch, walks along the beach. On Friday, a third offer came. $760,000 from an older couple wanting to move closer to their grandchildren. Great offer, Kyle said. They're pre-approved and they can close quickly. I accept, I said without hesitation. Kyle began the paperwork and I called the Florida agent to make an offer on the beach house. Everything was moving so fast it felt surreal. Over the weekend I started packing. Just the essentials. Photo albums, favorite books, keepsakes. I decided to leave most furniture for the new owners. It belonged to this house. Sunday evening Natalie called, rare for her. Hi Martha, she said nervously. How are you? Good, I said sorting photos. Brian's upset, she continued. He expected to see you Sunday. He's starting to think you're avoiding him. I'm not avoiding anyone, I said calmly. I've just had a lot going on. What kind of things? She asked, curious. Just personal matters, I replied. Nothing urgent. She didn't push. The kids miss you. Maybe we can come for dinner this week. Hearing that made my chest ache. I missed them too, especially little Lucy. But if I saw them now I might spill everything. Let's plan for next week, I said. I'm really busy right now. Are you sure you're okay? Not sick. No, I'm fine, I reassured her. Just busy. After the call, guilt crept in. Maybe I should tell them. But then I remembered Brian shouting, threatening to call the police. No, I had every right to make my own decisions without his permission. Monday brought good news. My offer on the Florida home was accepted. The agent said all paperwork could be signed remotely. You'll sign with a notary there and mail us the originals, he explained. The keys will be waiting for you when you arrive. It gave me new energy. This was no longer a dream. I had a plan, a place, and a future waiting for me. That same day I began researching movers and requested quotes. I also browsed furniture online. Most sites offered direct shipping to the new address. Tuesday Kyle arrived with the pre-sale agreement. Albert and Dorothy Pearson, he said. They're lovely people. They've lived in their old home 45 years, but their daughter lives here in Oakwood, so they're relocating. I'm glad it's going to people who'll love it, I said, signing the papers. That night I lay awake thinking about everything. About how Hank and I first moved in with baby Brian, how we filled the house with furniture, laughter, family. I remembered the backyard swing, the summer barbecues, the birthdays. Then I thought about the house by the ocean. The peace, the independence. And I realized, I wasn't letting go of Hank's memory. He used to say, it's not where you live. It's how you live. And now I intended to live well. On my own terms. On Wednesday I had to go to the bank to arrange how the money from the house sale would be handled. As I drove past Brian and Natalie's house, I saw Brian stepping outside toward his car. For a second I thought about stopping, telling him everything. But I didn't slow down. It wasn't time yet. At the bank, a young man named Brandon helped me with the paperwork. Some money would go toward the new house in Florida, some to my account there, and the rest would stay put here in Oakwood. Big step, Brandon said. Moving states at your age, that takes guts. You've got to be brave at my age, I smiled. Otherwise, you spend your life regretting what you didn't do. When I got home, there was a message on my machine from Brian. Mom, it's me. Heather and I are worried. You're not picking up, canceling plans. This is about the designer thing. I apologized already. What else do you want? I deleted it. What could I say? Sorry, son, I'm selling the house you think is yours and moving far away because I'm tired of being treated like a burden? Oh, that talk could wait. Instead, I called Donna and told her the latest. You're doing the right thing, she said firmly. He's treated you like property, not a person. Let him learn something for once. I feel a little guilty hiding all this, I admitted. Did he feel guilty yelling at you? Threatening you? She asked. Trying to force you into a nursing home? I sighed. No. Of course not. Exactly, she said. You don't owe him anything. It's your life. Her words helped. She always saw things clearly without the emotion that blurs family ties. The next few days were full. Packing, setting up movers, closing out utilities, arranging mail forwarding. With each task I felt more sure. Saturday, the Pearsons came for the final inspection. They were lovely, warm and enthusiastic. This garden is beautiful, Dorothy said, admiring the roses. Our old yard was too shady. Roses take work, but they're worth it, I told her, showing her the old white bush I'd raised from a twig. I'll take good care of it, she promised, gently touching a bloom. Albert checked the heating, roof and air, but still took time to say, You have a wonderful home, Mrs. Ellis. We'll take care of it. After they left, I felt something close to peace. I knew they'd love the place as much as I had. On Sunday, Kyle arrived with the final documents. Closings were set for both houses. Same day, 2 weeks away. It's lining up perfectly, he said, sorting the papers. Sell one, buy another. Like a movie script. It does feel surreal, I admitted. You haven't told your son yet? He asked gently. I shook my head. I know I should, but I keep putting it off. I understand. But maybe let them know before closing. Give them time to process. He was right. Brian would be furious that I sold it without telling him, without offering him a chance, without permission. But the longer I waited, the harder it got. I'll think about it, I said. Maybe next week. After he left, I sat in the living room staring at the pictures I hadn't packed. Hank on our wedding day. Brian in his cap and gown. The grandkids last Christmas. They were still my family but not my decision-makers. If Brian couldn't see me as anything more than a free babysitter or an obstacle, then maybe space was what we needed. Maybe Florida would give us both perspective. I deserved a calm, happy life, even if it meant starting over far away. I got up and kept packing. In 2 weeks I'd sign the papers and begin again on my terms. 2 weeks later I stood in Kyle Harper's office and signed the closing papers. The house now belonged to Albert and Dorothy Pearson. I felt strangely weightless, like I'd put down a heavy load I didn't realize I'd been carrying. Congrats, Kyle said, shaking my hand. It's done. Funds will hit your account by tomorrow. Thank you, I smiled. You made it all easier than I imagined. That's my job, he grinned. And Florida? It's mine. Just got the confirmation. Keys will be waiting at the realtor's office. Great. He handed me a folder. Everything's in here. Keep it safe. Have you told your son yet? I shook my head. No. Every time I tried. I couldn't. I get it. But maybe now's the time. You're right, I said. I'll call him today. Outside, I sat in my car and called Brian. Straight to voicemail. Hi, it's Mom. I need to talk to you. Please call when you can. The rest of the day I packed the final boxes. The moving truck was coming in 2 days. I had 5 days to clear out completely. That evening as I sipped tea, the doorbell rang. It was Martha Collins, my neighbor. Judith, she said, clearly worried. Is it true? I saw the for sale sign come down. I nodded. Yes. I'm moving to Florida. Florida? She looked stunned. Why? You never said anything. What about Brian and the kids? Are they going too? No, just me. I smiled, trying to keep things light. It's time for a new chapter. My friend Donna moved there last year. She's happy and I think I will be too. I bought a house near Donna, I said. Martha shook her head. Brian must be furious. He always said he loved this place. I didn't know what to say. Life changes. She stayed a bit longer talking about the weather, her grandkids, and how she'd miss me. Then she left, probably to tell the rest of the neighborhood. I closed the door and leaned against it, suddenly tired. An hour later the phone rang. Brian. Mom. His voice was tight. Mrs. Norton just called. She said you sold the house. Is that true? Mrs. Norton, the neighborhood gossip. Of course she had called him. Yes, Brian. It's true. The sale closed this morning. There was silence. Then, you sold it? Without telling me? Without asking? Yes, I said simply. His voice rose. This was our family home. How could you just sell it? I left you a message today. I wanted to talk, but the deal was already done. What are you going to do? Where are you even moving? I bought a house in Florida. It's small, near the beach, close to Donna. Florida. He sounded like I'd said I was moving to the moon. You're leaving the state without discussing it with us? What about the kids? Lily cried last week because she missed you. That hurt, but I stayed calm. I'll miss them too. But I'm not disappearing. You can call, visit, I'll have space. You don't get it, he snapped. We can't just hop on planes. I have work, the kids have school. Why are you doing this? Because it's time I lived for myself. I've spent decades living for others. For you, your father, your kids. Now it's my turn. He lowered his voice. Is this still about the designer thing? I already apologized. It's not just that. It was the last straw. You've treated me like a babysitter, like an obstacle. Not a person. That's not true. Isn't it? You hinted I should downsize, asked for money, brought in a designer to remodel my house without asking me. There was a pause. Then his tone turned sharp. So how much did you get for it? That's not your business, I said. It's the house I grew up in. Dad's house. It was mine and your father's. We bought it. Paid it off. After he passed, it became mine. I had every right to sell it. You should have offered it to me first. Could you afford it? I asked. Not right away, but maybe an installment plan or something. Brian, you told me you don't even have a down payment for another house. His voice went cold. So you chose to sell it to strangers instead of helping your own son? I didn't owe it to you. And after how you've treated me, I didn't want to. I've always been a good son, he insisted. When you needed a sitter or money, or when you wanted to remodel the house you thought would be yours, I replied. It's not fair, Mom. I was thinking of you, a first-floor bedroom, safer layout. No, Brian. You were thinking about how convenient it would be, for you. Not once did you ask what I wanted. Silence again. I heard his heavy breathing. I can't believe this, he muttered. You're abandoning your family and blaming me. I'm not blaming you, I said softly. But you stopped seeing me as a person. I became a resource, not your mother. That's ridiculous, he said. You know what? Do whatever you want. Go live in Florida with other retirees. Just don't expect us to call or visit. You made your choice. Then he hung up. I stared at the phone. I knew the conversation would be hard, but it still shocked me. Brian wasn't just upset, he felt betrayed. In his eyes, I was an ungrateful mother who had turned her back on her family. I made tea, trying to calm my nerves. But just as I sat down, the phone rang again. Natalie. Judith, she sounded tense. Is it true? You sold the house. Yes, I said, bracing myself. And you're moving to Florida? Yes. I bought a little place near the ocean. I'm leaving next week. But why? You never said you wanted to leave. I realized I want to live for myself. The past few years I've been a grandmother, a backup wallet, and a placeholder for what Brian wanted to inherit. That's not fair, Natalie protested, but without much force. We appreciate everything you do. You're important to us. Then why did Brian hint at nursing homes? Why did you both assume I'd always be free to babysit? Why bring a designer into my house without asking me? She paused. You're right. That wasn't fair. I'm sorry. But moving so far, the kids will miss you. Especially Lily. I'll miss them too, I said, my voice softer now. They can come for vacations. We can video chat. Brian feels betrayed, she admitted. But he's always been like his dad, stubborn, hot-headed. He needs time. He does love you, Carol, Heather said gently. He just doesn't know how to show it. I nodded. I love him too, but that doesn't mean I have to give up my own happiness for his comfort. We talked a little longer. Heather was more thoughtful than Brian, but I could still feel her judgment underneath the sympathy. To her, being a grandmother should have been my whole purpose, and moving to Florida felt selfish. Later that evening, I checked my email and saw a message from Brian, sent just minutes earlier. Mom, I can't believe you did this, it read. You sold the house I grew up in, Dad's house, the one meant for me and my kids. You didn't even tell me. You say I didn't see you as your own person, but did you ever see me as a son who deserved to know? That house was our family's. You gave it away to strangers. Sure, now you're free of us, free of your grandkids. I honestly don't know if I can forgive you. Not just for the sale, but for putting your wants over our family. Reading it brought tears to my eyes. He was right about one thing. I should have told him. Out of respect, if nothing else. But he couldn't see that I wanted more than just to be grandma or housekeeper of his imagined inheritance. I opened a reply and rewrote it half a dozen times before finally sending this. Dear Brian, I understand you're hurting. I should have spoken to you about the sale, and I regret that. It was your childhood home and I know what it meant. But wanting my own life doesn't mean I've turned my back on family. Being your mom doesn't mean giving you my house just because you assumed it was yours. I love you and the kids deeply, but I also have dreams. Like waking up near the ocean, listening to the waves, building a quiet life that's mine. You say my happiness came at the cost of our relationship. But that's not true. Staying connected is your choice. I'll be waiting in Florida whenever you're ready. Love, Mom. After hitting send, I sat quietly. His anger didn't shock me, but it still hurt. I hoped in time he'd understand that I didn't choose this life to hurt him. I chose it because for once I needed to live for myself. That night before bed, I looked at photos of my new house. Bright rooms, a sweet little porch, and that calming ocean view. It gave me a sense of peace even as I mourned what I'd left behind. Then a new email came in. It was Brian again. I can't believe how selfish you're being, it said. But you're right, the choice is mine. And I choose to cut ties with someone who abandons their family for a beach dream. Good luck in Florida. I closed the message, my chest tightening. Still deep down I felt calm. Brian's a grown man now, his choices are his. I can't control how he reacts. But I can choose to live the life that feels right to me. The next morning I stepped out of the cab in Seabrook, Florida. The air smelled of salt and flowers, and the little white house with blue shutters looked even better in person. My friend Louise waited on the porch, rocking gently with 2 lemonades. Welcome home, Carol, she said, arms open. Hugging her, I felt the stress of everything, the move, the arguments, start to lift. Got the keys right here, Louise smiled, jingling them. Wanna see the place first or take a break? The house, I said, already smiling. We walked up the steps and she handed me the keys like it was some kind of ceremony. Inside, the rooms were filled with light, the big windows framing that blue ocean. The kitchen was cheerful, the bedrooms cozy. It was everything I hoped for. Later that afternoon, a moving truck arrived with the few things I brought. Some furniture, boxes of books and photos. Louise helped me unpack until we collapsed on the porch to watch the sunset. Tomorrow we shop, she said, sipping her drink. I've got the basics, I replied. A bed, a table, a couple chairs. The rest can wait. She looked over at me. How are you really doing? I let out a breath. I'm still sad about how things ended with Brian. But I don't regret my decision. Maybe I was selfish. But don't I get to be after all these years? Absolutely, Louise said firmly. You've given enough. It's your turn now. He was right. As the pink sky deepened over the sea, I reminded myself. I had chosen this life for a reason. And no matter what came next, it was mine. Eloise soon introduced me to her circle. Other retirees who'd relocated from all over. Linda and George Miller from Chicago invited us to a backyard cookout. Arthur Hayes, a retired lit professor from Boston, ran a book club I joined, and spirited Susan Tran from San Francisco led morning beach yoga. I quickly found myself part of the community. Yoga, beach walks, dinners with new friends. Tuesdays I learned to cook seafood at the rec center. Thursdays I painted in Arthur's garage-turned studio. The ocean became my rhythm. Each day started and ended with the sound of waves. I loved walking the shore, collecting shells, watching pelicans dive. I hadn't heard from Jackson. I'd sent him my new address and number. No reply. Claire sent a brief text. Got your address. Jackson's still upset. Give it time. I tried not to dwell, but I missed my grandkids, especially during quiet evenings under the stars. About a month in, my phone rang. It was Piper. Hearing her voice brought tears. Grandma, she whispered. It's me. Oh, sweetheart, I said, my voice trembling. So good to hear from you. Me too. Dad doesn't know I'm calling. He told us not to talk to you. That hurt, but I stayed calm. I get it, honey. How's school? How are Caleb and Maisie? I got an A in science. Caleb's always gaming and Maisie misses you. She asks when you'll be back. I swallowed hard. I miss you all too. But this is my home now, honey. Dad says you left us for a beach. No, baby. I didn't leave you, I just chose something for me. Like how you choose to draw or read what you love. She was quiet, then said, I understand. You can visit, you know. It's so pretty. Palm trees, ocean, the works. I'd love to, she said softly. But Dad says we'll never come. He's hurting. Give it time. I hope so. I love you, Grandma. I love you too. Tell Caleb and Maisie I do. After we hung up, I sat out front, staring at the sea. I ached from missing them, but I couldn't return just to fall back under Jackson's thumb. To be the free sitter again, the barrier to his plans. I was finally living for me. Weeks passed. I finished furnishing my place. A soft couch, ocean-facing chairs, my watercolors, family photos. I hadn't erased the past. I just didn't let it steer my future. I planted roses out back. They weren't like my old ones in Brookville, but they bloomed almost year-round here. Each morning I tended them. Eloise and I began reading to kids at the library once a week, which eased the ache of missing my grandkids. Their wide-eyed joy reminded me of Maisie. I also joined the senior choir. I'd never sung publicly before, but here I wasn't alone. We rehearsed twice a week and sang at local fairs and senior homes. It gave me a sense of purpose and connection. Still nothing from Jackson. But Piper called about once a month. From her, I learned Caleb joined swim team and finally eased up on video games. Maisie drew a family picture with me in it. The grandma by the ocean. Jackson and Claire had bought a new house. Smaller than they hoped, but with a pool and enough rooms for the kids. Dad talks about you, Piper told me once. When stuff goes wrong, he says, that's something Grandma would know how to fix. I smiled through tears. Maybe he missed me too, even if he'd never say it. By month 6, I felt fully rooted in Shore Haven. I had friends, hobbies, and my own peaceful routine. I didn't wake thinking I had to pick up kids or argue about the house. I woke ready to paint, walk, read, things I chose. On my 6-month anniversary, Eloise threw a little party. Everyone came, Arthur, Susan, the Millers, and a few others I'd met. We sat on the porch, sipped wine, shared food and laughter. Arthur raised his glass. To the woman brave enough to begin again when others would have stopped. Everyone toasted. I felt tears, not of sorrow but of joy. Thank you, I said, truly moved, for letting me be part of your lives. Later, after everyone left, Eloise and I watched the stars. No regrets, she asked softly. I regret the distance with Jackson. I miss the kids. But the move? Not for a second. He squeezed my hand. You deserve joy, Margaret. I nodded. I never thought at 68 I'd be learning to paint, singing, making new friends. I figured life was winding down. But here I am, beginning again. Most people never dare, Eloise said. That's why they stay stuck. Now I wake up excited. Every day feels fresh. The next morning while I was tending my roses, the phone rang. Unknown number. I expected Piper, but it was Jackson. Mom? He said, unsure. Jackson, I replied, surprised. How are you? Fine. You? I'm good. I really like it here. Silence. Then, Piper's been calling. Yes, I said gently. She misses you, he added, voice tight. So do Caleb and Maisie. That stung, but I stayed steady. I miss all of you. But I'm not coming back. He sighed. That's not why I called. Claire thinks I should try. For the kids. I smiled, knowing she'd pushed him. So I was grateful. You're always welcome. The beach, the ocean, the kids would love it. Maybe, he said. Not now. Maybe Christmas. I'd love that, I said, feeling hope rise. We spoke a bit more, about the kids, his house, my life here. It was awkward but real. Afterward, I walked the shoreline, waves lapping my feet. My decision hadn't changed. I still didn't regret leaving. But now there was a chance to stay connected, on my terms. That night, I watched the sun melt into the sea and thought about the woman I'd become. Not just a wife, a mother, or a grandma, but Margaret Bishop, someone who finally chose herself. And that, I realized, was more than enough.